Okay, I got totally bumped off of that stream there because my phone rang because I forgot to put it onto airplane mode. Okay, every time my phone rings, my live stream goes dead. So I'm gonna wait for you guys to come back here for a minute so I can continue with this question. Sorry about that. Yeah, I totally got bumped off. That was like the second time that happened. That happened last week, and I still forgot to shut it off. So let's give it a chance. Everybody's getting back on. Sorry. Sorry, that was my fault. Hi. Yeah, I forgot. I forgot to turn my airplane mode. Somebody called me. It's usually my mother, but it wasn't my mother this time. My mother's out traveling. She's in Yellowstone with my dad. They're out having a good time together while I'm here working and, yeah. All right, so everybody's coming back. Hopefully we didn't lose too many people. So sorry, that was all my fault. Okay, so, yeah, so anyway, let's go back to this question here about cluster feeding at night. Is everybody coming back? Are you guys back? Give me some hearts. Give me some thumbs up if you're back on the line here. I can see a few of you. Yes, Yellowstone is gorgeous. She's sending me pictures and I'm super jealous. That's going to be my next trip. I want to go out and just explore. It looks beautiful. Okay. Yeah. All right. So great. You guys are here. So as far as the cluster feeding at night, every baby is totally different. And so babies are going to go through growth spurts, and sometimes during those growth spurts, they just need the extra food. So especially with a 4-month-old, I would not hold off a 4-month-old baby who's hungry, who wants to nurse at night or cluster feed. Not everybody can make the same amount of milk during a feeding. Okay, so let's just get that clear. So, some people have a breast capacity. Okay, and we've talked about this before, breast capacity, where they make more milk from one feeding to the next. And so they can go longer stretches between feedings. And sometimes their babies sleep longer. Sometimes they don't, but sometimes they do because they're getting more at a feeding. Other people may make less milk during a particular feeding, but overall, in a 24-hour period, they're making plenty of milk and adequate milk for their baby. Okay, but they may need to feed a little more frequently. And I was talking about this last week. I was one of those people who needed to feed pretty frequently. I exclusively breastfed, but she was on the breast. They were both on the breast pretty frequently in the beginning and throughout the whole year, actually. That's just not something you can really change that much. You can't change the fact that they're going through a growth spurt, and that the only way to really increase your supply during those growth spurts is to let them feed on demand. Like when they're hungry, let them eat. Otherwise, you're going to delay that increase in your supply that your baby actually needs. Okay, that's how your body's like responding. It's kind of your baby's having a relationship with your breast, and your baby's nursing and your breast is responding, and they're communicating with each other. And if you're kind of interfering or trying to hold that off or make the baby sleep or trying to put a pacifier in the baby's mouth to prolong the duration between the feedings or stop a feeding, you're going to interfere with that natural process where your body responds perfectly to your baby. So I recommend just letting it happen, especially at 4 months old. This idea that, your baby is somehow manipulating you, that your baby's crying and, knows what they're doing. They're not, okay? Babies that age cannot manipulate you. They're not crying. They're crying because they need you. They're crying because they need the comfort. They're crying because they're hungry. They're crying because they want to be held. Those are all things that are normal, and actually not responding to those could be really detrimental to your baby and to your milk supply and to everything else. So feed them. Okay, I'm not going to give you an answer of like how long before the baby stops cluster feeding at night. Hard to say. Everyone is different. And even if your baby stops cluster feeding at night, your baby can go back to doing it again. So maybe you'll have a month where the baby's sleeping through the night and you're like, this is great. And then the next month, they're awake again. Also, remember that during the evening hours and, like late afternoon, evening, your supply is at its lowest, okay? And so your baby may need to feed frequently, but the milk the milk is actually higher in fat. So it's really good, important milk that the baby needs. You may feel your breast and think, I'm completely empty, I have no milk, but you actually do. You have milk in there, and the milk is higher in fat. So allow the baby to eat more frequently, okay? And don't worry about it. You'll eventually get to sleep, and try to sleep during the day. When the baby's, when the baby is asleep, try to sleep. If you're working, then sometimes having the baby bed share with you safely, or co-sleeping next to you, like in a co-sleeper, will make at least the feedings not so disruptive at night, so that you can feed frequently, but you can still be kind of dozing off back to sleep. Okay. Let's see here. Somebody asked me a question right here in the beginning when we logged back in. Okay. Jenny, you're asking me about iron supplements, right? Iron supplements for a breastfed baby. She can't stand them or take them, but the pediatrician says we have to do it, but she spits it out. Jenny, how old is your baby? I'd like to know the answer to that. I know there's a little delay here, so you could take a second to answer me. But typically, breastfed babies, exclusively breastfed babies, do not need iron supplements. Okay, that's just inaccurate, especially for the first 6 months. The baby should have adequate 8 months. Okay, so for the first 6 months, your baby has perfectly adequate stores of iron from pregnancy. There's nothing missing at that point. Once the baby hits to around after 6 months, it can start to deplete, and you can start to make up for that with their complementary foods. So you can, feed the baby more green leafy vegetables and meats and things that are going to be higher in iron. But truthfully, I never give iron supplements unless you're like severely anemic. Or if your baby's having some kind of an issue with anemia, I don't recommend iron supplements. So, not necessary. Hope that helps. I don't know. I didn't give my baby I don't recommend any vitamins really. I don't give vitamins during breastfeeding. Breastfeeding basically has everything that you need. Carrie's asking, what about vitamin D? Okay, so vitamin D, you can't get vitamin D through your food. Okay, vitamin D is only, so you can get like the amount of vitamin D that you would ever get from eating food is such a small amount, so much less than what you actually need to be healthy. And this is like a whole other conversation we should talk about at some point about you and your vitamin D needs, because most people are really vitamin D deficient. And if you live in a colder climate or if you have darker skin, this is especially true. And it can cause a lot of different problems all over your body. But for your baby specifically, sunlight is really the best way to get vitamin D to your baby. If you can't get enough sunlight, then obviously supplementation like a vitamin supplement is going to be necessary. But if you as a breastfeeding mom can bring your vitamin D levels to within a normal range, and that's somewhere around over 50 is like ideal, over 50, okay? If you can get up there with your own supplementation or with enough sun exposure, then your baby is gonna get the vitamin D from you and doesn't need supplementation. Okay, so let's get that clear. Like, they don't have to have vitamin D supplementation, but if you're really deficient and the baby's never getting any sunlight, and I'm not even talking like you're not going to bring the baby and lay the baby in the sun. It's just like a little bit of sun exposure, like a couple times a week for a few minutes, is going to give the baby like hands and face exposed. Just for a few minutes is going to get the baby the vitamin D that they need, because your skin actually manufactures it. Okay, your skin makes it right from the sun, and so a little bit of sunlight for you and for the baby is great. And if you want to take supplementation, then you can supplement. Most people need to supplement to keep their levels up over 50, and then your breast milk should be fine. Okay. Let's see. I'm just reading what Katie wrote here. Katie wrote that her doctor told them that they were concerned about a deficiency in the recommended supplements. Okay, yeah, and then he backpedaled because it's not true. Because it's not true. You don't need it. All right. So let's see. Any other questions here? Okay. All right, so Anita just asked a question here. Where's Anita's question? Anita said, okay, I know you've answered this. My friend is worried about baby losing weight after birth and the pediatrician making her supplement. What do you always say about normal weight loss? Okay, so normal weight loss. First of all, I just did a whole post about this recently, so you can like post to your friend. You could tag your friend and share it with your friend about normal weight loss. There's also a whole video on my Facebook page under the breastfeeding tips playlist that you can go to on weight loss. But basically, babies have to lose weight. It's not just okay if they lose a little bit of weight. They need to lose in the beginning. About 10% is a normal amount that they lose from the birth, and that's because they're losing a lot of fluids. Now, if you have a C-section, you might even lose a little bit more because you're not getting that squeeze of the delivery. So you'll see even a little bit more of a weight loss. So I would say that the weight loss should be about 10%. Sometimes it's a little bit more. It all depends on the mode of delivery. What's more important is how's the baby feeding? How's the baby peeing and pooping? How's the baby doing once your milk finally comes in on day 4 or 5? Is the baby transferring milk well? Are we starting to see an upward gain? And it doesn't mean that the baby's gaining a lot of weight or gaining it all back at once, but we're starting to see it creeping in the right direction. And then typically, and these are all like just averages, like 2 weeks after the baby's born would be an ideal time when the baby should be around back at birth weight. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. If at 2 weeks your baby's an ounce or two under birth weight, or under the original birth weight, hasn't gained all the way back, it's still not an indication to go supplementing without other factors being in place. If the baby is not peeing, or, those are reasons that you might be needing to supplement if you're really not getting milk. But at that point, you want to get a lactation consultant to make sure that it's not something wrong with your latch. But normal weight loss in the beginning, it's not just normal, it's necessary. Babies born with more fluid in their body than their kidneys can handle. And so that's from drinking all the amniotic fluid. So when they are born, they need to pee out all those fluids, which is why you don't make milk for a few days. Okay? You don't make milk. You have colostrum, which is mostly giving the baby the antibody and the immune protection to keep them healthy. It's not like volume of food. We're talking about drops, teaspoon, at a time. It's not to feed them so they gain weight or that they don't lose weight. They're supposed to lose weight, and it's totally normal. Okay, so hope that helped you. Yeah. Okay, she says it did. Excellent. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, this is a really long question. Okay. Janet posted on my wall, and she said that she has twins, a boy and a girl. They'll be 5 months on Tuesday. They were born at 28 weeks. She had a 71-day hospital stay. So difficult. Oh my goodness, really hard, but wonderful that they're doing well now. I tried my best with breastfeeding while in the hospital, but they were so little and weak that we needed to push or bottle feed. I have tried to nurse on and off since bringing them home, some to just help alleviate my constant state of clogged ducts, but that's another story. But they just can't suck hard enough and tire themselves out. We need to monitor their intake due to gain issues. They also have some nutritional deficiencies that require us to supplement with NeoSure. So I've been exclusively pumping since day one. That's hard work, not at all what I expected it to be like. They are either getting straight breast milk bottles or mixed breast milk with NeoSure. My question is, since I'm not putting them to breast, does my body know how to change the composition of the milk as they get older? Their little lips are not coming into contact with my breast, and it dawned on me the other day that perhaps the biological interaction and change in milk is not happening. Any thoughts or suggestions? Okay, excellent questions. Excellent question. And this is the thing. So many of you have this same question because you're exclusively pumping, and you've heard me say before that breast milk changes over time. So as your baby's feeding, your baby will be getting the nutrients that they need as they get older and older, and it's changing from day to day, and it's changing from month to month and week to week, okay? So this is a great question. Regardless of her background, what's happening now? The answer to that is yes, your body's going to keep on adjusting as time goes by. As time is going by, it changes from when the babies were preemies, that milk was different than full-term milk. Okay, so it's making it specifically for preemies, and it knows that. Then it starts to change over time. For some very, very young preemies, that may not be enough, and that's why she's seeing that she needs to supplement with the NeoSure, and that does happen with extremely early preemies, like a 28-week, what she's talking about here. But preemies like 36-week, 37-week, those preemies, your body is going to make preemie milk in the beginning, and then it will turn into newborn milk, and then so on and so on. And it does change over the course of the year. When you're pumping, you will see that the milk will be different from the morning or to the night, and that the fat content changes from one time a day to the other. So you may want to start just moving the bottles around, or just mixing them together at times if you're feeling like, you want to combine from the day. That can work. The other thing too is that in addition to the milk changing, your body picks up the bacteria or whatever illnesses or whatever things that the baby might be exposed to when the baby puts their mouth to your breast. So for you, for example, I would say that even putting the baby skin to skin, putting them to the breast, even to just be next to the breast, lips to the breast, that could help. It could definitely help. And it's not only going to help that, but it's just, there's something about skin to skin that's going to help the babies in their complete development. So, one thing that you kind of lose out on when you're exclusively pumping, the baby's getting breast milk, which is amazing, but more than that, they also need that skin to skin contact. And so it's not only for their development, but to be able to give signals and you be close to your baby so that your body starts to make antibodies to whatever pathogens that they may be exposed to or that they may be carrying. So skin to skin and baby to breast, whether they're feeding or not, I highly recommend that. So I think that not to worry about the milk changing. You're doing great. It's, pumping is hard work. Exclusively pumping is hard work. Well worth it. And especially for your preemie twins. But bringing the baby to breast, skin to skin, is definitely an advantage. So that's what I would recommend. Okay. And you've wondered about that too. Okay, good. I'm a little out of breath. I've been talking for a while here. Let's see, is there anything else? How are you guys doing? How are you guys doing here? Yeah, you getting ready for the end of the day? I don't know. Over here, my kids are about to walk in. What time is it? Oh, it's almost 3 o'clock. And my kids are going to be walking through the door very shortly. Jade just started high school, so she's 14, and Talia is 12, and she's in 7th grade, and so I'm dealing with my own stuff here. I'm not dealing with breastfeeding issues here. We're dealing with other stuff, so yeah, let me tell you, I go back to those days any day to deal with breastfeeding issues because they were so cute and cuddly at that point, and I loved it so much. They get older and the problems get bigger, but they're awesome. I have 2 awesome girls. I cannot complain. I have really awesome daughters. They're smart and beautiful and amazing. And yeah, I'm very lucky. I'm very, very lucky. And they're doing really well in school. So that's all I can just say. They're doing great. You never know when they're little. You always hope that they're going to do great, that you did all the right things, that you set the right examples for them, that you raised them right. And it feels really good to see them turning into little adults now and to say, oh, they're doing okay. We just need to get them through the next few years, but they're doing okay, and more than okay. They're doing awesome. So Yeah, it happens quick. I was talking to my friend the other day. She hadn't seen the girls in a while, and she's like, "Oh my God, they changed so much." And I think that age from like 10 to 14, it's huge. They go through puberty, and like one minute they're like little babies, they're like little kids, and then the next minute they're like girls, like adults, like like young ladies, and they look really different. So I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. Okay. Do we have one more question here? Let me answer one more question. Oh, you know what? Somebody, who was it that asked me this question? Someone posted here, and I can't find it right now. I don't know why. I'm going to have to go back and look for it, but what was her name? Oh, hold on a second. Okay. Because she was asking me, she had watched my Simply Breastfeeding class and was asking me about, she had heard me say that there's a list of breastfeeding essentials that I recommend, so that like if you're pregnant and you want to put these on your registry, or the things that I think are like most important to buy, because you don't need that much stuff. Okay, let's face it. Like what you really need to breastfeed are your breasts and your baby. Okay, like really that's the main thing. But then there's some things that are good and important to include in that too. And I'll just give you a short list here of things that I recommend having when you like buying before you deliver, so that you're prepared when you come home with the baby, and some of those things even taking to the hospital with you. One of the first things that I recommend is making sure that you have at least two really good nursing bras that are good for sleeping and good for engorgement. Ones that completely open so that you have your full breast exposed, and that maybe don't have any hooks in the back. There's one from Bravado Designs that I really like. It's the original sleep bra from Bravado. Really great. It works great for being engorged, and then, fits like a range of sizes. So I really like that one. I would have at least 2. 3 is ideal, because that way you have one you're wearing, one in the wash, and one in the drawer. Okay, because your bras get really, really dirty. Do you know what I'm talking about? Are your bras getting really dirty? You're leaking milk on them. The baby's spitting up on them. I always tell people, like, nursing bras are like, especially in the beginning, are like underwear. You're not putting it on the next day. Like, to take it off and then the next day just go put it back on again, you're probably not going to do that. So having enough nursing bras, that's a really important. Oh, her name is Joie. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Joie Star asked me this question. She said, I'm 7-month pregnant wife with a question about something you mentioned in the breastfeeding DVD. At the end, you said there was a list of breastfeeding essentials that a woman should have before going to deliver. Not sure where you said that I can find that list. Can you tell me? I'm creating my registry and I wanted some of those things possibly on my list. Thank you for everything you do. Your work has been very, very, very beneficial to me. I'm so glad. Okay, so nursing bras, okay. Chelsea's asking, why do you need a nursing bra at night? Because typically, especially in the beginning, that's when your breasts are fullest and you'll leak the most at night. People who are nursing, can you tell us, is that your experience? Because that was my experience, and most of the people I see, you do leak at night, so you want to wear pads. But you want to wear something comfortable, especially in the beginning, so that you can wear it 24/7, keep your pads on so you're not soaking wet, and giving you a little bit of support, which is important, even at night. And it's not going to be digging into your breast, causing plugged ducts, as we talked about before. So that's why you need one at night, nursing pads. So that's number 2 on the list, nursing pads. I would get some washable nursing pads, all right? Because you want to wear paper 24 hours a day. It's not good for your skin. It's not that comfortable to wear all the time. I like to get like the cloth or the bamboo nursing pads, and just use them when you're home and when you're sleeping, and then you just wash them like cloth diapers, okay? And then have also a box of disposable pads so that when you go out, you can just toss them, all right? Yeah, so Erica's saying she only leaks at night. That's typical. That's really typical, where you're fine all day, but then at night is the time that you leak, so that's when you'll be wearing a bra. Disposable and washable pads are good. The other thing would be a nursing pillow. The one that I use in the one that I use in my DVD is the My Breast Friend, but there's a bunch of different nursing pillows on the market, just something that's going to help to support the baby. Some people say they're fine with just a regular bed pillow. I find them to be really, they're good like later on. You could breastfeed standing on your head later on. But in the beginning, I feel like you need a little more support. You need the baby to be brought up to the breast. And if you watched my DVD and you're trying to follow my advice for the way that you hold your baby, the way that you're latching your baby, then you need like a firm pillow that's raised up under the breast. And if you're not wearing, your breast friend pillow should be right under the breast and the baby laying facing you. So your breastfeeding pillow, I would add nipple butter. Okay, the Earth Mama Angel Baby nipple butter. I'd put that on your registry. That's great to have right off the bat. I love that stuff. Okay, so that was great. Yeah, Boppy was pretty useless. I agree with you, Megan. Yeah, too soft, right? And then the baby sinks into the hole and they're just not positioned right. If the baby's all cockeyed coming to the breast, you're not getting a good latch. So a firm pillow, the nipple cream. I would get some kind of a, if you can, a glider, like someplace where you can sit, where your back is going to be supported. Or you can also get the Back Buddy, which we're going to be doing a giveaway coming up, not today, but very shortly this week, I'll be starting a giveaway on the Back Buddy by Mom Essentials. Love that thing. So that can help to sit you up straight. So if all you have is your bed or your couch, you're not sinking back, but you're like being supported. So either a glider chair, like the one that I have one right here in my office. You could see it there. Okay. And that glider chair, it can lock so that you're not rocking back. If your glider doesn't lock, then just kind of push it up against the corner of the wall or in the corner so that it's not gliding back all the time. You need something that's going to hold you and support you up. And then I think one of the last things I would say, not the last thing, but also a nursing stool, some kind of a nursing stool that bends your knees higher than your hips. Okay, bend your knees higher than your hips. The back support and then bending your knees is going to save your back and make your positioning so much easier. So definitely that. And then lastly, I would get your breast pump. If you can get it before you deliver from your insurance, or if you're not getting it through your insurance, you're buying it, go pick it up. Of course, I love the Even Flow feeding pump. But I find that having that before you come home with the baby, just in case you need it, in case the baby's not latching and you have to wait to go see the LC, you need a pump. So it could be a manual pump too. You can get a manual pump, but if you're going back to work, if you know that you're going to be using the pump, then I would get it before you deliver. Okay. You could also hand express too in the beginning. Sometimes you just need to express a little bit. When you're really engorged, sometimes it's really hard to latch the baby because the nipple's too flattened out from the engorgement. And so just expressing, either hand expressing some milk or putting your pump on, getting a little bit of milk out, makes the latch that much easier to do. So there you go. Okay. So that was my list for you. Okay. So if you're doing your registry, hopefully that helps. I'm going to post to you so you know to go watch this, because I won't be able to repeat that again very soon. Oh, okay. So let's see. Anything else? Somebody was asking me, please answer my question, and it went by so fast and I couldn't see who that was. Somebody wanted me to answer. Was it Angelica? Please answer mine. Okay, Angelica, I'm looking for your question, so bear with me for a second if I can scroll back and find it. Okay, found it. Okay. My son has G6PD deficiency, is not able to have soy. If I eat something with soy, will it affect him while I'm breastfeeding? No one has been able to answer this. Not my pediatrician, not my hematologist, not my gynecologist. Please help. Okay. Yes, soy will go through your milk. Okay, so just like cow's milk protein transfers through when you eat it to your breast milk, so will soy. So if your baby is not able to have soy, you would not want to be eating soy either. I wouldn't eat soy anyway. Okay, so it's something that I would cut out of your diet anyway. Most soy that you come across these days is genetically modified. It's not good for you. It's not something like drinking soy milk. I wouldn't drink soy milk. I would try to look for products that don't have soy, which a lot of the processed stuff does have soy in it. So I would just avoid it. If your baby can't have it and you're breastfeeding, then I would not be eating it at all. The other thing with soy too is that for postpartum women, you have more of a tendency for hypothyroidism. So you can have thyroid issues after delivery, and soy depresses the thyroid gland. So I just would avoid the soy altogether and, not eat soy, especially if you're worried about it. And eat for everybody. I just don't think soy is a great thing. Don't drink soy milk, okay? Stick to like coconut milk, almond milk. Those are better for you if you're going to, soy also interact bad with the thyroid. Yep, that's what I'm saying. You can have a problem with your thyroid when you, yes, I said it. You can have a problem with your thyroid. Soy is not good. Anyone with a thyroid condition, you should not be eating any soy. It only negatively impacts the thyroid, makes it less active than it already is. So if you have an underactive thyroid, last thing you want to do is have anything with soy in it. So, did you guys enjoy this? Was this a good chat for the afternoon? I hope that you guys learned. You guys have a lot of good questions, It's so interesting. I've been posting on my wall, and I have some moms who are, feeling like maybe I'm answering stuff that's all, I'm answering normal questions. I'm talking about normal breastfeeding, and people do have challenges. But I really love to talk about what's normal, because typically we all have like minor issues that can be resolved or can be addressed. And it's not to say that people don't have issues. They do have issues. But together we can answer them. And typically just some good education, some good knowledge before delivery. So share this with your pregnant friends, because they need it. I'm sure a lot of you watch my live Q&As or read the stuff that I post and say, God, I wish I knew this before my first baby. God, I wish I knew this before I delivered. It would have helped. So help someone else out. If you know somebody who's expecting, or you're expecting yourself, don't stop here. If you're expecting, take my Simply Breastfeeding class. It's the bomb. It's good. It tells you all these things that you won't know, and you'll be more prepared for when you go to the hospital or when you deliver your baby, so you get off to the right start. It's not going to fix everything, but it will definitely give you the right start. Okay? And stay tuned, because very, very shortly, I know I've been promising this for a while. I've just had so much going on. We moved this summer. I was sick this summer. Kids went back to school, but I am going to be starting my private Facebook group really shortly for all of my students. So if you've taken a class with me, we're going to do a private group together. All right. So I'll be announcing that pretty shortly. I'm going to say goodbye. The girls are going to be coming in. I hope you had a good time. I hope you learned something. Love you guys very much. And I'll be back shortly. Sometime this week we'll do some more. Okay, post on my wall. If you have questions, just post them. All right, talk to you soon. Love you guys. Mwah. Bye.